Nightfighter turn. Last time we left off with the turn 2, the bomber's move. So the Wellington has 2 MP and it moves 3 hexes in this turn because it's an even turn. We'll press the move 1 button. At 3 clicks, I'm going to go 3 hexes. Nothing to enter quite yet. The JU-88, now sure that a bomber is on the map, moves closer to the entry edge. Again, sure that the bomber is on the map, the German player places his radars as such. The umpire now places the sweep markers. A legal placement for the Wurzburg will either be 1102 or 1103 depending on the range. The range from each hex is 9, so either is legal. Similarly, 1503 and 1504 is the legal placement for the Freya. The range from each is 13. That sweep placement should keep the Nightfighter player guessing just a bit about the turn that the bomber entered into the map. Quite impossible to tally just yet, so the umpire won't even fake it here. Hopefully, by now you have a grasp of the basics, and we'll move along more quickly now without much explanation unless something requires it. The umpire pulls an entry chit, see the umpire window only, but holds off on entering the second bomber just yet. Rule 8.14. Knowing the bomber is on the left half of the map and knowing that it entered from turn 1 or 2, the Nightfighter player narrows the location to the Anton, Bruno, or Dora sectors. Emil's sector is not likely based on the sweep marker placement. Track markers can be generated from the radar counters via the right-click menu. They're also available in the markers counter tray. Track markers can be highlighted with the search value radius if desired. The umpire places the sweep markers. The only legal placement, 0505, would be a legal placement as well. The umpire could start rolling fake tallies if desired. They move 3 this turn. The second bomber must enter this turn. Entry MP can be 1, 2, or 3. Rule 8.2.1. Open the ump window and drag the bomber from the coffee cup directly into the entry area. This prevents giving anything away to the player. And let's just move 1 hex upon entry. Use the Control Up arrow command from the right click menu so nothing will be revealed to the player. Dora sector is the most likely position. As a technique, the NF player can move the track marker down the map to keep the relative position with the bombers. Since the bombers move 3, track markers 3. Move the track markers 3. Now the picture is starting to sharpen. Contact. (0410) would also be a legal placement. Which is there. Since the radar search areas overlap, the NF player can rule out the 03XX column. Hex 0208 can also be ruled out, since a bomber that moved to there would have generated a contact that turn. That leaves 0109, 0110, 0209, and 0210 as possibilities. The umpire, in a desperate attempt to confuse the NF player, rolls a fake tally dice. All is still inky blackness, Mr. Player. And I'll mark the moved all counters by clicking the yellow M in the icon above. With the umpire revealing two contacts, the Nightfighter player knows, the NF player knows that the bomber is either in 0212 or 0211. The noose is tightening. Again, a fake tally roll. Nothing. Turn updated to turn 5, tally to turn 5 combat. Update to turn to end of turn. The umpire marks all units as moved. The turn is updated from turn 5 to move bombers. Bombers are moving. Open the ump window only. The third bomber will enter now. And move 3. Turn updated to radar search. The Wurzburg moves to 0216. The Freya moves to 0212. The Nightfighter player, knowing that the bomber location is within 2 hexes, deletes all his previous track markers. Places the Freya in 0213. Bingo, the bomber has to be in 0215. You may have noticed that when I placed the track marker in 0215, it positioned itself underneath the bomber counter. This is a function of the 2 different layers on the map. One layer is visible to the NF player. Both layers are visible to the umpire. If one layer obscures the other, the counter over the other, the cycle map icon is used to swap out the layers. I just clicked the cycle map icon a few times. Searchlight phase. The bomber is now in the searchlight zone. Joseph, Rule 14.21 comes into play, and a searchlight marker is placed in the zone. A searchlight fixes attempt near the searchlight fix aid and the tally attempts in extended tally range. Optional Rule 28.3 could apply here to cause searchlight confusion, but this is a demo game and is not for any use. Since 6 was not rolled, the attempt fails. If it hadn't failed, the umpire would have to flip the searchlight search marker over and mark the position like this. Searchlight fix markers move with the bombers when using the Move 1 button like this. You're probably getting the idea, and we'll undo everything. So let's continue. The Nightfighter is within range, good visibility with a moon that allows 4 dice for the attempt. Since the Ju-88C has a good view, a bonus die is added. A 6 is rolled, so there is a tally, and the umpire places a tally marker. The Nightfighter player deletes the track marker. Still out of range for combat to occur. Note, though, that the bomber had been in the same hex as the Nightfighter. Option rule 28.4 was in use. The attack position would have been poor since only a 6 was rolled. Bomber movement. Note how the tally markers moved with the bomber. The NF player starts to search for additional trade. Freya moves to 0417. Wurzburg creates a sweep marker. Sweep marker. Turn 7 radar search to turn 7 searchlight. Searchlight zone Joseph attempts another fix and doesn't get it. Already tallied, so there's nothing more to do in this phase. Finally, this is why we play the game. The bomber gets a chance to respond to the approaching Nightfighter. The first response roll is on the table, 17.4, bomber response 1. No modifiers apply in our case. No response. The bomber is unaware of any danger. The Nightfighter can now attack and rolls on the combat table. The Ju-88C has 3 FP, so it adds 3 to the roll. A final DR of 12 gives 3 hits, which equals the damage rating of the Wellington, so the bomber is shot down with no chance of additional response. The Nightfighter now rolls on the aircraft destruction table and follows the bomber briefly to ensure its destruction. It will move straight ahead at least 2 MP next turn. So we change the instruction text to follow down on T8. The turn is updated to turn 7, end of turn. Now with 1 down, the Nightfighter has achieved a victory. There are still more bombers out there, however, so the Nightfighter player chooses to continue the game. And it continues on from there.